Global leaders are meeting today in Washington, D.C. for a conference on swine flu, how to deal with the medical, social, and business implications of a possible pandemic. Now, Commerce Secretary Gary Locke, Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, and Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius will hold a joint news conference today to advise employers and businesses on how to deal with the swine flu. But with a delay as well as a shortage in swine flu vaccines already announced by the CDC, there is a proposal on Defense Secretary Robert Gates' desk for the military to set up regional teams to help local authorities deal with a reaction to the pandemic. So are we facing an event rich in hysteria, or one of historical proportions? Let's talk to the experts. Dr. Richard Carmona is a former Surgeon General and the president and CEO of the Canyon Ranch Health Resort. Joe Finder is the author of Vanished and a corporate corruption novelist. And Larry Smith, the president of the Institute for Crisis Management. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
All right, Dr. Carmona, let me start with you. Is this a case of real hysteria surrounding the possibility of a substantial pandemic flu, or is it a case of a real concern?
Well, I think there's no real hysteria. I think there's uncertainty. I think the American public is bombarded with a significant amount of information about emerging infections from all over the world and the common flu that hits us every year. And so with that uncertainty, there's, not sure of what to do and how is this going to affect me. But I think we have an infrastructure in place that's doing a good job. Our CDC, our Health and Human Services, Department of Homeland Security, all have guidance on websites. We have a pandemic flu plan that's been in place for a couple of years now, and that information needs to be disseminated a little bit more actively.
Larry, what do you think? Is this a major issue? What are the challenges we face?
Well, the challenges, the challenges that we face are getting people to pay attention. I don't think CDC and HHS and the World Health Organization have done a very good job of planning up to this point. But business leaders, the ones that I deal with, are still not taking this seriously, and they've got a lot of business planning to do as well as the health issue planning that people have been talking about. And if they don't do that, there'll be a big hiccup, potential big hiccup in their business. But let me remind you that we've had pandemics every 30 to 40 years since 1500 at least, and the world has never come to an end after one.
Joe?
There have been less than 500 deaths from swine flu in this country. 477. Every year, 36,000 people die from influenza A. So, why is this to be feared more than influenza? This is something I've wondered about, and I'm not entirely sure why people are more alarmed about swine flu, which in fact has killed far fewer people than influenza.
Let's ask the doctors, the former Surgeon General. Why is that?
Alexis, again, I think it comes to the uncertainty. I agree with my colleagues that we have still a lot of work to do in the business community for continuity of business preparation, which is well outlined in the pandemic flu response plan. However, the public is still uncertain about all of this. The data given to you is absolutely true. About 35 or 36,000 people every year die from common flu, and this particular H1N1 seems not to be so virulent now, and so it's not that we should relax, but still we are having what appears to be a disproportionate concern about a virus that at least now, if it doesn't mutate, seems to be not so virulent. However, we need to be vigilant about all of these emerging infections. Right now it's H1N1. The term that we use in preparedness is all hazards preparedness. Communities need to be prepared for any and all challenges, whether they're earthquakes, whether they're hurricanes, man-made, naturally occurring challenges, or emerging infections, which we anticipate will continue every year as they have for many, many years, actually many centuries.
I'd like to ask a question. In 1976, I remember there was a swine flu scare. Gerald Ford ordered the nation to be vaccinated. I believe one person died from swine flu in '76. 25 people died from the vaccine. And by the way, a lot of people, like me, didn't get one because we didn't know what the risks were that might be associated with this swine flu.